Who's
Hi.
this?
This is Meseret. What's your name?
My name is Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. Is that your full name, or is Mark short for something?
That's my full name, Mark. Yeah.
That's nice.
Meseret. Meseret is short for, what is it short for again?
Mestopheles?
Is that true?
No.
Oh, okay.
Meseret is the whole name. Mez is for
Yeah.
short. For
Yes, of course.
let's talk. Let's be fair. For people who can't pronounce Meseret or can't read it.
People can't pronounce it?
Oh yeah, that was a running joke for me growing up. Every first day of class, first grade, second grade, third grade, all the way up, and they're doing the roll call of, Mark Dowling, and you're like, here,
Present. Yeah.
present. And then obviously there's the knucklehead who's just like, here, or is just like, Kyle,
Yeah.
yeah. And then for obviously, because it's alphabetical where your name is going to kind of land.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, all right, here he goes. Let's see how this teacher butchers my name. So I've heard every rendition possible. So Meseret is the correct way to pronounce it. I've heard Meseret, where a lot of people think the T at the end is silent. French, yeah, which I'll give you that. I've heard Meseret, where they just replace the R and the S. They just switch it. I've heard, usually it's my name coming up because they precede it with, says the person ahead of me, and then comes to my name, reads it, and then goes, and that's my name because they're just like, how do I say this as delicately as possible? So that sometimes they'll just be like, and then I'll just be like, yup, that's me. And they'll be like, how do you pronounce your name? I'm just like, however way you do, it's fine. I don't care. Like, I've had teachers call me the wrong name for a very long time. And my friends will actually be like, his name's actually Meseret. And they're like, Meseret, is that true? I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to see you for a year. It's going to be done.
The weird thing is, it's spelled exactly as it sounds.
Yeah. I mean, hooked on phonics.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a lot of pressure for a teacher to be there first day of school having to read 30, 40 names.
I think it is.
All these people stare.
Yeah, because, in our minds, when I'm in second grade, I look at my teacher and I think the teacher is like 70, like just disproportionately older than they actually are. And now I'm 32 and I have friends who are teachers who are teaching, middle school or high school or, elementary, and they're not super old. So they have their own insecurities and their own kind of vulnerabilities with all that stuff too. Not everybody is like super confident, just be like, all right, your name's Mark. And that's how it's spelled. That's how I'm going to say it, especially now. Like, I'm sure if I was in school now, a lot of teachers would be like, could you just pronounce it for me the way you want it to be heard? And it's just like, it's just Mark, just Mark. And it was like, well, if there's any other way you want to pronounce that, that's fine. And it was just like, it's not that big a deal. I didn't pick the name.
What would your name be if you could pick it?
Ooh, that is a good question. Hercules. Hercules.
What are your parents' names?
My mom's name is Eden, or the way it's spelled is Eden, Eden. And my dad's name is actually my last name, so it's Hadish. And that's like culturally, like if I ever have kids, their last name would be my first name.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But, just run-of-the-mill African names. But not too, I don't know, like, I never looked at it as, like, so different because of my parents and my brother. But I obviously growing up in North Dakota where everybody's name is, like, Brian or whatever, I guess it stands out. But
yeah, but it's unique for those people that you're hanging around. You know, you're not like one of 7 Stephanies in
that's true.
a high school.
That's
which
true.
is also probably like, I'm Stephanie S. Okay.
Oh God.
Don't confuse me with that cow, Stephanie R.
Oh, Stephanie R.
I don't know.
No, it's true.
I'm just being a mean high school girl.
That would be tough to be, you know, the 3rd Brendan or something like that. And it's just like, that's so I guess that's kind of where you see like the wild spellings of like Ashley, and it's like ASHLEIGH, and you're just like, you're just, you know, grammatically the same as Ashley, but like it's so dumb.
Right.
Pick a different
I'm Jackie with 2 Q's.
with two Q's, a Y, and an I. Well, that's always
3
a big
E's. Never seen it. You never seen it. 3 E's.
3 E's.
I'm unique.
Well, what if someone had to give you or gave you a nickname? What did you have growing up? Like, did everybody just call you Mark, or was there something else you went by, an alias of sorts?
Everybody called me Dowling.
Dowling, okay.
Went by a last name because there were a couple Marks. I never liked the name Mark, and I would also get called Matt or Mike or something a lot by like people I didn't really know, who I just met.
Like they on purpose, they were just like, "Hey, what's up, Matt?" And like, "I told you my name is Mark."
no, by accident. But it.
Oh, okay.
It was like weird to correct someone.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Don't you know who I am? Because I say it like that. I don't know how to be like, oh, actually, it's Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't you know who I am?
I gave up because there was just too many. So a lot of people would just be like, Mez, because it's short, and that's an easy. The best was I had a teacher once who didn't even attempt to say my name or try to pronounce it. They were just like, M. And I was just like, oh, I guess that's me. The first letter of my name is M. I guess that's me. I'm M. And he was just like, he was like an old, he was a dude who was in the Coast Guard, and he smelled like soup, and he rode a Harley Davidson.
Wow.
He was one of the most interesting teachers I ever had. He talked about like why he wore a clip-on tie, and the reason he wore it was from the Coast Guard. And he's just like, do you guys ever know why you're supposed to wear a clip-on tie? We're, you know, children in high school, I guess, and, you know, doing this electronics course. And he's just like, you wear a clip-on tie because if you're working in machinery, like on the Coast Guard, you're working on a ship or something, if you wear a normal tie and it gets snagged on something, you could hang yourself. So if you had a clip-on tie, it would just pull the clip-on tie. So he proceeded to just wear a clip-on tie for the rest of his life.
Of that threat that he might get hanged in a non-factory situation.
Yeah, and he also said don't wear rings on your fingers if you're working with electric because depending on what you could touch, you know, the ring could melt. And he's just like, there was a guy who had his ring on and he wasn't supposed to. He touched something, some voltage, and the ring melted and just like straight cut his finger off, like just cauterized it, and it just sliced it completely off. And yeah, he was interesting stories, but you know, was like M to start the class, and then he learned my name, but it's always great.
Have you been back to your high school at all to like visit?
Yeah, to just surprise my teachers. Hey, what's up? You remember me? You fucking idiot.
I remember when I was in high school, people who were seniors the year before or something would come by.
Yep.
And they'd be like, hey, how's it going? Like to the teachers and say hello. And I think I would be like, oh, like you've been out of here a year and you're back visiting. You must really hate college or really like your time in high school.
100%. I remember seeing kids. It was kind of nice as like whatever a sophomore and a junior, and your teacher kind of is like stopping the class to talk to this person who was a student previously, because it was like, all right,
Yeah.
we don't have to hear this lecture or whatever. We can just kind of like do whatever we want while this happens. But I always thought it was just like, yeah, it'd kind of be nice to come back, and just be like, look out to the classroom, all those kids, and just be like, I was there. I'm not there anymore. I'm a grown ass adult. You little shits have to be here for another year. I don't know. There is a power to it where it's just like, yeah, I'm free. So I choose to come back to high school. But like in hindsight, it's the dumbest thing in the world, because it's like, even if you like a teacher, there's no reason for you to just like come back like, at 1:30 in the afternoon in the middle of class and just be like, oh, hey, what's up? You remember me? Let's talk. Let's have a conversation in the middle of your class. Our high school, actually, I think it was towards the end, because obviously college, sometimes they would end earlier. So like earlier in May. So a lot of people would come home from college and then, just hang around. So I remember my high school in May, basically were like no visitors coming back to the high school. Like you can't come to like see teachers or faculty because it interrupts, the finals and the testing and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But I went once. It was, again, probably like a year after I graduated. And the reason why actually was I had a teacher when I was a senior. He was just like, if you graduate and you come back, I will give you the way I learned how to cheat in school, like a way to like cheat on tests. And I was like, oh yeah. Came back home from college or whatever on a break and was just like, all right, I'm going to go in. We go in and he's not in class. I think he was like an off period. And he's like, we were, catching up. He was a good teacher. And then I was just like, what's the secret? How to cheat? And he's just like, oh yeah. He's like, well, you kind of need either the test. So if you have the test beforehand, if you have the test beforehand, obviously you can like get all the information, but how do you remember what answer is what? So what you do is you write it on your fingernail in pencil, the answers. And then the reason why you write it on your fingernail is if like a teacher comes by and it's just like, what is that? You can just like wipe the pencil off of your fingernails. And I was just like, that's not that good of an idea. That's not like a good of like cheating. You have to know the answer.
It has to be a 10 question test also.
And like a multiple choice where you, on like your thumb, you have like question 1 is A and question 2 is D or whatever. And you're just like, this doesn't help me in my, astronomy class in college where I have to like go through 500 pages of a book to figure out constellations and shit.
Yeah, that's weird. Whenever I cheated in class, it would just be looking at someone else's test.
Oh yeah,
like for multiple choice.
Multiple choice,
and then I would like miscount, like because you can't really see on a Scantron like when you're supposed to be wearing glasses and you're not wearing glasses.
Is that what you do?
I missed the column by like 1, and then everything is just wrong.
Oh my god!
And I have to get cheating doesn't pay, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, cheating isn't worth it. That's funny because I feel like, well, I always wonder like how do teachers know that someone is cheating without like catching them in the act?
I'm sure kids are very yeah.
Like obviously in the act.
If they were to get the results of the test and they were like, oh, so and so doesn't look smart, and they got a lot of answers correct.
Well, I think it's
cheated
for sure. Like a pattern of behavior and grades. If Mark Dowling has consistently been getting, C's, and then all of a sudden gets like 100% on a test that he should also just get a C on, then it's just like, all right, that's suspicious. But the key to that is, especially I had heard from like friends who had older siblings who had gone through those classes and maybe kept some of that stuff. You're like, here's, my test or whatever. So you can usually, like, older teachers wouldn't change their coursework year to year. They're just kind of like, here's the same test I gave to the last kids.
I mean, why would you?
Yeah. So
they just want to go. Most of them just want to go in and get out. I think, right?
Yeah. Or in my town, I would see them when I worked at the bowling alley, go to the bar and get drunk. So
really?
That's what they did. Yes.
Wow.
But I think the key is, if you got a test like a previous year test, is instead of getting all of it correct, you like purposefully make a couple of mistakes. So instead of getting, an A plus 100 out of 100, you'd get a few wrong on purpose to throw the scent off, to be like, oh, well, he got a B, like an 86 or a 90. He's just like, all right, I guess he studied.
86. When you get that test back and it says 86, feels good.
You just dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Dodged a beating.
If I got below an 80.
Oh, yeah.
There comes the belt.
Here it comes. Get ready. No, did you know any of your teachers outside of school?
No.
Were you like, oh, hey, Mrs. McDonald, how's it going?
I mean, have I ever seen any of it? I don't.
Well, yeah.
I don't think so. No.
When I worked
no.
at the bowling alley, I saw him a few times, like a few different teachers, and it was like, it was very unnerving, because you always see them in this box with, chairs and desks and a chalkboard or marker board behind them, and you're just like, this is where you live. You live in this room. You don't leave.
Yeah.
You're here when I come, and you're there when I leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then to see them, like pushing a car at the grocery store, going through the eggs to make sure they're not broken. It's weird.
Yeah, you're just a person.
I can't imagine what it's like now, where like you could actually go on your teacher's social media.
Find one of the teachers like friended me on Instagram, like a teacher that I had in high school. Like, when Instagram came. I thought that was weird. Yeah, it wasn't before Instagram came. It was after Instagram came.
Oh, okay. They just did here's my email, and then it's just like, here are contacts that you can connect with, and then it's just like, Mark Dowling.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know why that would. Yeah, I'm not sure, but
I have no reason to necessarily connect with those teachers that I had. I mean, I don't live in that area anymore, so it's not like I would see them, but
right.
Yeah, I'm not like,
what's the point? What's the point?
What is the point of school? School sucks. School blows. Eat my shorts.
Fuck school. I'll say fuck school.
Fuck school.
Fuck school.
Especially, well, I know in New York, like there's like pre-K, and like there's a lot of stuff even before kindergarten.
Don't get me started.
Don't get me started. Yeah. The liberal agenda.
They're like camps, not camps, but like, maybe camps. Like
daycares and not daycares. We don't know what we're talking about. We don't have kids.
Like, when you have a kid and it's like a social club where kids can meet other kids.
Social club. There's a pool table and a slot machine.
It's Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy. Somebody comes, a kid walks through the double doors, and then everybody's just like, hey, Ricky. And just like pulls up a seat at the table. Guy gives him a juice box.
Backward seat.
And then someone's at the jukebox, playing the Rugrats theme song.
Yeah.
And they're just
You know
chilling.
how jukeboxes have theme songs on them?
Yeah, exactly. No, my before kindergarten, it was just like, I think daycare. But also, did you ever go to camp, like in summer?
Yeah, I went to like regular day camp when I was very little, and then sleepaway camp when I was older.
Damn, I wish I could have gone to like a sleepaway camp. That would have been so much fun.
Yeah, I think you would have liked it. It's a lot of like outdoorsy stuff.
Yeah, I I
You like that shit.
I like that. I like being outdoorsy. You know, being with nature, stepping on bugs. You know, burning all of
Burning
my
ants.
skin cells. Yeah, burning ants.
Oh,
Yeah, burning ants. Just playing God to bugs because I'm so much bigger than them. Knowing that,
yeah.
uh, they only evolve into a stronger species that will bite me and then poison me.
Hmm.
That's why like things get poisonous. It's just
They're gonna
because,
get their payback.
yeah, they're just like.
We're gonna become the ants. Ever think about that?
Do you
Ever think about that?
ever That's basically like everybody who are really into UFOs. They're just like, we're the ants. You don't understand. They could crush us. And you're just like, all right. Whatever you say, Joe Rogan.
Oh, I love Joe Rogan.
He's so cool. He's so cool.
Bro, he like gets comedy.
He
You
gets
know,
comedy.
he's like a vet. He's a comedy vet,
Well, yeah, absolutely. He's a huge veteran.
and he has an interest in MMA.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Guy I
thing is
want to
like,
hang out with.
I forgot for the longest time that he was still doing stand up. I thought he was just doing MMA stuff, but he's doing whatever. He's the voice of our generation.
I can't imagine what his stand up is like.
I don't know. He's probably talking
Like,
about
what does he do? Is he just
DMT.
like aggressively doing observational comedy?
No, I mean, yeah, I think he does. Stand up is so weird because it's like, yeah, this is just shit you saw and you're making a joke about it. I lost such a weird fascination with stand up a long time ago when you would just hear the just kind of general jokes where it's just like, isn't it weird that we all stand in line to go do this thing? And just like, yeah, I guess, whatever. I don't care. And I like, for a long time, I just had a weird disconnect with stand up. And I would just watch old stand up because that's what I remember as being the funniest to me. And there was like a line where I felt I was just like, apart from, one or two people that I really liked, I didn't feel like stuff was super funny to me. And a lot of the stuff that I really liked was obviously very like someone's personal anecdotal experience telling stories, and that's more
Yeah,
interesting to me than just like general kind of like, so I had a baby. What's that all about? Everybody has babies now. And just like, I don't care, man. Tell me a story
yeah,
about how you got punched in the face. That's more interesting.
right. The thing is, like, when somebody is a great storyteller, you can be like, oh, like Birbiglia has this great story about this thing. But
Right.
if somebody just tells jokes that are like,
Yeah,
run of the mill and they don't have a specific style to them, you're like, somebody had this joke that was like, you don't remember
for
who the
sure.
comedian is that had that joke. It's just very general. And then obviously, like, people can steal material from other people if they're like
Yeah.
jokes like that. You can't steal a story from someone.
But kind of like how in the 80s there was like so many comics and there were so many avenues for them to showcase their stuff in comedy clubs or whatever. A lot of comedians were just kind of talking about the same general stuff. And it's kind of the same now where social media is kind of leveled so much of the playing field where, a comedian talking about something that I see, someone on Instagram talking about or making fun of, like the disconnect with that, I don't think like stand-up comedians completely understand, because it's like, well, I'm on a stage with a microphone, and that's different than just like holding my phone up and like talking into it. And I think most people don't see that much of a correlation. They're just like, is it funny or is it not?
Mm.
So a lot of
Well, it's just
people,
memes that
yeah,
like
oh yeah,
you
memes
think
are
of like
hilarious.
this setup. I
Memes
really
are
like
funnier than
the white
90% of the
box sweater.
stand-ups.
Yeah, but that's the same. The premise of a joke is like the meme. You know, is like
Totally.
the formula of the meme.
At
And
its,
I don't know
yeah.
what the,
No, it's
I'm,
at its simplest, it's a setup
yeah,
punchline. And
sure.
it's,
Plug
yeah,
in the joke here,
totally.
but it's exactly the same as if two comedians are like, I want to do a bit about how
Right.
baseball is boring or whatever,
Yeah.
and then I don't know.
And I think there are always going to be exceptions to the rule of like, well, this person just does mostly observational stuff. Like Anthony Jeselnik is like a phenomenal joke writer and stand up, and he does stuff that isn't necessarily super personal, but is still like, it's so unique, it's so like specific, and it's funny because of that. But if he was just doing kind of that kind of thing, run of the mill, then it'd be like, yeah, it's not that interesting.
Mhm.
Just be interesting. That's all I want.
Yeah, JBI.
JBI, JB Smooth,
Just be
also very
interesting.
funny.
Yeah, very interesting.
I don't know. I love watching like old stand up, like Pryor and Eddie Murphy and Paul Mooney, and like there are these comedians who have a very specific point of view that's very rooted in who they are, and that takes so long for stand-ups to get to usually. And
Mhm.
yeah, and I think
The
it's,
comfort of someone like Paul Mooney or like Dick Gregory is
yeah,
just they do not care. Like
no,
they're themselves on stage. Dick Gregory specifically was like very like just soothing
yeah, well,
and like
and
patient.
yeah, absolutely. And they have that, there's a confidence and there's a, like an assuredness about it that kind of puts an audience at ease to kind of be like, all right, take me wherever you're going to go. You're going to take me on an observation. You're going to take me to a personal story, or a one liner, a character, an impression, or whatever. You're just kind of like, yeah. And you kind of buy in more into the personality than you do like the premise of them doing jokes.
Mhm.
And I think that's why like a lot of comedians are finding more of a following doing like podcasts or whatever, because it's like, well, we can just kind of like get to know who you are, and then when you make jokes, I can attribute it to something that I know about you. That's why like making fun of your friends is great, because it's like, well, I know my friends, I know what makes them laugh, I know things about them. So this kind of like, humor has it's rooted in something that it has a connection that I like and I enjoy.
Mhm.
And that's comedy 101. For more information, please visit our website at jokes.com.
Tap 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 tap.
Tap, 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 tap. We should just start a Patreon for doing jokes. We
Like
pay,
somebody pays $1 and we give them a joke.
yeah, we just give them a joke. Monthly jokes subscription. And we'll just pull them
Yeah,
from like old joke books from the 50s that no one's read, so nobody will know the difference.
right. Like popsicle, we'll eat a bunch of popsicle sticks and then
Yeah, we'll get
read the
we'll
jokes
get
that
our,
are on the
yeah, whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to humor from, discarded
food humor.
rappers? Yeah, food humor.
Yeah, Snickers bars used to say different things on them. Remember that?
Yeah. Our whole lives revolved around um, getting toys out of cereal boxes, uh, codes on caps for Powerade, and yeah, Snickers jokes.
Yeah, or the popsicle stick. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
popsicle sticks. bubble gum. I forget what the Big League Chew, I think might have had something like that.
Bazooka Joe had
Bazooka
the
Joe.
comics.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna look up a popsicle joke.
All right.
And then I want you to. How long have we been talking?
We're almost. We could wrap up.
I'm gonna look up a joke.
Let's end on a popsicle joke. Let's end on a popsicle joke.
Wait, I want you to tell me what the punchline. What do you think the punchline is?
Great.
Okay. Wait, I don't like. I want to find.
You gotta find anyone. Not a. You don't look. Don't search.
Okay. How did the telephone propose to his girlfriend?
How did the telephone propose to his girlfriend? He engaged a call.
Oh, maybe if this was in England, but the answer is how did the telephone propose to his girlfriend? He gave her a ring.
I wish I had like a soundboard that just had like a room full of 50 people booing right now. Wow.
And then,
gave her a ring. Because I was just like, is it one of those jokes where it's just like 7, 8, 9 or something like that? I wasn't sure, but give her a ring. Well, all right. Should we get started?
Can you find one? Wait,
a popsicle?
No,
did you just go to popsiclejokes.com?
I typed it into google.com.
Popsicle jokes. 40 plus 40 plus. All right, perfect. Got one.
Okay.
What's the hardest thing about learning to ride a bike?
What's the hardest thing about learning to ride a bike? All the rim jobs.
A better joke than what's the hardest thing about learning to ride a bike? The pavement. Get it? Do you get it, Mark? Do you get it?
Yeah.
Do you understand the joke?
No.
Where do spaghetti and sauce go to dance?
I read that one.
Oh.
That was one I skipped over.
The meatball.
So I don't want to guess. Oh, you like that one, do you?
Why are frogs rarely angry?
Because they don't have an attitude.
No, they eat whatever.
They don't have a bad attitude.
No, they eat whatever bugs them. You idiot. Where does the trunk? Where does it? Oh, I just told a joke. Where does an elephant keep its suitcase? It's in the trunk. Wow. These jokes.
You like these?
I do like these because you know what it is. There's a simplicity to it, and it just makes me laugh, man.
So you take back what you say about not liking jokes?
Yeah, I take all of that back. I think everybody should just do paint by numbers jokes. That's the best.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What kind of bug is in the FBI?
Oh.
I also like these are jokes that are like quizzes. It's not like a joke.
Yeah.
This is like
wait, I gotta get out a sheet of paper.
Do the calculation. What kind of
Is this an obvious one? This seems so hard.
Yeah, it's an obvious one. They're all obvious ones. What kind of bug is in the FBI? A spider.
Oh. Okay, see, I wasn't thinking about spiders.
What's the most expensive kind of fish? What's the most expensive kind of fish, Mark?
No, I heard the question.
What's the most expensive kind of fish? Tell me. It's right in front of you. What kind of fish costs a lot of money?
I don't.
A goldfish,
I don't know.
Mark. A goldfish.
Oh,
because
see,
gold is expensive.
not if you inherit it. Do they put that on the back of the joke?
No.
Back
But
of the stick?
They
not
did
if
put...
your grandfather leaves it to you. Why?
That's true.
Wait, that one's not good. I was.
We should get started.
This
This
one
will take forever. We'll never stop doing this.
Why do owls always get invited to bird parties?
Something with who. It has to be something with who. They know who. They know. Or they turn their neck a lot. Fuck. I don't know. Tell me.
That's what it is. It's why do owls always get invited to bird parties? Because they turn their neck a lot. No, it's because they're such a hoot. That's what it says.
Yeah. There's never been a joke. Mark my words. There's never been a joke about an owl that didn't involve who somewhere in it.
Mm-hmm.
Never. Not even one. You can't find one, and it's not possible.
Mm.
All right.
You're probably right.
Let's get started.